sauce right in there. Now, this one actually has you using a marinade, and it has you using olive oil and red wine vinegar and rosemary and thyme and all that stuff. This is really good marinade, okay? And it really works well. I'm going to use that tonight. But for my demo, I'm just going to go ahead and just because of the fact that this beef is so good, I'm just going to go ahead and just use a little salt and pepper. That's it. All right. So what we're going to do is, I had a thing of salt here. Miranda, did you see that thing of salt I had?
No.
Grab it for me. Grab one for me. What we're going to do is we're just going to take this and we're going to season this. Thank you. And you want to season it pretty good, right? The number one mistake my students make is that they under-season. All right. I remember when I was at the plaza, I was working as an expediter in the Oak Room one night, even though I was the executive sous chef at the time. And I remember really being busy, just tickets all the way across the board, and I'm expediting, and I'm like dealing with the waiters, and okay, let's go, and let's, you know, I'm picking the plates and putting them down and calling stuff off. And anyway, one of the things was the T-bone steak that it came out. And what we do at the plaza is we'll actually take the steak off the bone, and then put it back on the bone already sliced, you know, and then put a piece of watercress underneath it, and everything is a la carte. You had to buy separately the condiments and the sides and all that stuff had to be bought separately and all that stuff. But anyway, so I reach across and I grab a little piece of gristle from a little piece of meat that wasn't put back on the plate. I was just so hungry, and I put it in my mouth, and I was like, oh my God, it's so salty, so salty. And I was like, oh man, I can't believe it. What, do you season meat like that all the time? And he's like, oh yeah. And he had started working at the plaza like in 1965. That was the year I was born. You know, this guy's the grill guy, you know, and he's in the union, and he's been doing it forever. Anyway, I said to the waiter, listen, do me a favor, keep an eye on table number 32. I'm thinking we're going to have a guest complaint. Way over-seasoned that beef, you know. And a little while later, the guy comes up and he says, hey, table number 32 wants to see you. I'm like, you see? Got a problem here with table number 32. See? I told you there was going to be a problem. Anyway, I went upstairs, and I changed my uniform over to one side to the other because I had, right, and I fixed my hair up underneath my hat, my neckerchief, and changed my apron around to the other side. I'm walking through the dining room, and as I'm walking through the dining room, my eyes are shifting because it's kind of dark, and I see a guy over there with a big balloon glass in one hand, and he's swirling the brandy around, and he's got in his other hand, he's got this big cigar. And he goes, are you the chef? Come here. And he grabs my hand and he goes, that's for you. That was the best steak I ever had in my entire life. Like that, right? Anyway, he needed that much salt in order to cut through the cigar smoke and the brandy, you know what I mean, from years and years of. Anyway, so anyway, I went downstairs and I ended up giving half the $50, half of the $100 bill to the waiter and to the cook, the grill cook, and I said, hey, listen, I stand corrected, all right? You know what I mean? So anyway, we're gonna season this really nicely. Anyway, so you want to sear this off, and you want to collapse those cells, and you want to get it really, really well cooked. All right? And what you can do is you can do this early. You can do this like at the Four Seasons. We used to do this in the morning. Sear off all the steaks for the party of 400 people. Seriously, okay? And then we would put it on racks, put it on sheet trays, put the racks on rack and roll carts, and then wrap the entire cart and put the entire cart in the walk-in refrigerator. When we got ready for that party, okay, bring out the steak for party in the ballroom, right? And we would take the steaks out, we'd leave them out for about 20 minutes or so until they came down to room temperature, and then what we would do is we'd fire all the steaks in the oven, shut the oven doors, and it would be ready to go, right? The sauce would be ready ahead of time. There's no way, there's 15 parties going on simultaneously. There's no way we can sear off steak at the last minute. That's what I want to encourage you to do. If Diana, if you're having a dinner party, sear the steaks off before you get your beautiful cocktail dress on and your lipstick and you're looking gorgeous, right? Before anybody arrives. And then you can put it on a sheet tray, right? So what we're going to do is, I gave you the recipe in your packet, which has it as a la minute cooking. But this is another variation of it. Remember? A recipe is only a guideline. You must know the cooking methods and have a relationship with the ingredients, right? Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to just sear this off, right? Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to put it right in the oven. Alan, you want to grab that? Yeah. Hold on. It's going to be really hot. So there's a tray in there. Grab that tray. I put the tray in the oven early because of the fact that I want this thing to cook quickly because you guys are hungry, aren't you? Just coming from work, anybody? Huh? I am. Okay, so I never want to put it on top of the tray itself because the moisture is going to come out of the meat and hit the tray. Oh. Right? I don't want it sitting in its own juice. I never want to overcrowd the pan either because the juice is going to come out and right? Moisture, what? Toughens meat. Let's put it right into the oven, Alan. Right into the oven. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to degrease. I'm going to take my fat off. Okay, I'm going to take my fat out of here. Like this. The fat is not good, so we're going to take that fat out. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some shallots and some garlic. You hear that sound? Shallots and the garlic are going right in the pan. See all those wonderful bits of yumminess that are stuck to the bottom of the pan? What are they called again? Fond. Fond, right? We have to release that fond. Okay? If you're doing this on a barbecue, you want to make this sauce, it's fine. Just put your pan off to the side on the barbecue. You can just work right on the barbecue with the pan. And you can make this sauce on the pan. You don't have to have the fond in the pan. If you want to get the smokiness into the steak and all that stuff and continue to cook it, that's fine. So this can go right in the center because it's nice and hot. Not a problem. Anyway, you want to get the aroma of the garlic and the shallots to come out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to deglaze, right? Now when we deglaze, matter of fact, we have you adding red wine, which is fine. I'm going to do a combination of red wine and a little bit of bourbon, right? Huh? Bourbon. And what we want to do is we want to pull it off and put it like this. All right? And we're going to do a little what we call flambe, right? That's going to add some sweetness, and then we're going to add some red wine. How much red wine? How much red wine do you like? And what kind of red wine? You want to add the red wine that you like to drink, okay? You can call it a Cabernet Sauvignon sauce if it's a Cabernet Sauvignon you're adding. You can call it a Merlot sauce if it's a Merlot sauce, if it's Merlot that you're adding. All of that, okay? So, and then we're going to let it reduce. So, degrease, deglaze, reduce. Similar to what we did before, right? Once before, right? Anyway, so this is very similar. Now I have some beef stock going on over here, right? And what we're going to do with the beef stock is we're going to add the beef stock and we're going to continue to cook it. Alright? And we're going to make this really, really great sauce. Now, the red wine has tannic acid in there. Okay? We're going to add the butter to balance out the tannic acid. Right? Like we did with the with the saute. Very similar, okay? Sauce making is very, very similar to itself, right? Alright, so over here, this is coming down here now. And then we can go ahead and pull the steak out of the oven.
What was the oven set to? 425.
Hey Miranda.
Yeah.
Do you see that white plate that was here, the long one?
No.
Can you grab me one from up there?
Chef, what do you want this?
Here, this one you got.
Be clear off on this. Leave my name out. Alright, so we're going to check the temperature of this. Now, you can check the temperature by going like this. Alright? But I mean, we're in the year 2013. Almost, right? 2012. Why not use the right thing for the job? Right? And right now, for me, this is too rare. I don't think this thing is set right either. There's no way that's 140 inside. No way. Alright, so we have our, this is not right, this thing. We're going to have to temp set this one, but we want to let this rest for a while, okay? For about 5 minutes or so it doesn't go all over the place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my sauce. We're gonna do an emulsification on this sauce. Once you add the butter to the meat, we have to immediately get it out of it where it's at. So we're just gonna have one of these nearby. Guys, hungry?
I took that's making me hungry right now.
We're gonna try to eat something right now. See that? Isn't that wonderful? Alright, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the butter. The butter's gonna kind of thicken it up a little bit. I'm gonna let that come down just a couple more minutes. You guys like it rare? Yeah.
How long do you let it rest?
Gotta let it rest. For every pound, you gotta let it rest about 5 to 7 minutes. Every pound, about 5 to 7 minutes. All right, here we go. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add the butter. We're gonna let the butter emulsify in there. We're gonna add the butter piece by piece. This is called monte au beurre, right? Monte au beurre. So when you mount something, you climb a mountain. You don't climb the mountain from jumping all the way from the bottom all the way to the top, right? You go one step at a time, right? That's what we're doing right now. We're adding one piece of butter at a time, one step at a time until we mount the whole thing. Monte. Everybody say monte au beurre. How much red wine do we want to add? I don't know. How much wine do you like, right? Some of you won't even get all the wine in there because it'll be drunk already. We'll drink it all already. Right on?
Yes, but mine's selling.
Oh, you gotta go get some more, right? So you want to use good wine, right? Gallo, right? I don't know.
Hey,
how good that is.
I used to work for that.
Huh?
I used to work for
Did
that.
you? Ernest and Julio? Yeah? All right.
Well, just Julio. Ernest is already dead when I joined.
Oh. Julio's already dead? All right. Anyway, then we're going to put some salt. Some pepper in there. Then, because of the fact that we added the butter to the pan's got to have residual heat. Make sure that we're going to shut off the heat, and we're going to get it out of the pan because it'll break, it'll separate, right? So you can actually strain it right now. We're not going to strain it. We're just going to go with it. That's our sauce. Sauce. Right? Who's hungry?
Diana.
Diana's ready. All right. No, this is ribeye.
Where do you get these?
I'm not sure where she got these. It's not the thing that we'd normally get.
Yeah. Yeah, Prof.
You know what they look like?
Yeah, my wife buys them some Sprouts and I tell her to do it fresh and easy and constant. Yeah, pretty easy. It's not bad. Can't afford it.
That's really Always.
Always buy a lot of meat at Costco because I can't afford to buy it at the butcher.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I buy meat at Costco all the time. I threw Costco under the bus. You know, it's sustainable beef, but I mean, it's not sustainable beef, but It's because I was trying to drive the point home on the sustainable beef thing, but just check the difference.
Do they use decent product?
Is there any difference when you freezing meat? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm not sure about Walmart. I have no idea. You're asking me the wrong. You're asking the wrong guy. I've never done any research on Walmart beef. As far as freezing meat is concerned,
Like Omaha Steaks and things like that.
you know what they do is they do it right. They'll bring it from. They'll go from like 40 degrees, the refrigerator temperature, to like 35 degrees, which is not quite frozen, but really, and then they'll go right at 32 for like 5 days, where it's just kind of teetering on the not frozen, yes frozen kind of thing like that, and then they'll bring it down slowly. And what that does is that gradually brings the temperature of the steak down. So each cell is like it's like freezing a bottle of water, in the freezer. If you just throw a bottle of water in the freezer, the outside of the water freezes. The inside's not frozen yet. By the time the inside freezes, it expands, cracks the outside, cracks the bottom, pops the top right off. Same thing happens with your cells, unless you freeze it gradually. And these people that do these frozen meats, if you buy it frozen like that, you're probably pretty good. It's probably pretty good.
And then does the same go with thawing it? If you thaw it too quickly, it's going to blow up too?
Yeah, you want to freeze it. There's only a couple of different ways to thaw meat. All right. In the refrigerator overnight is basically really the best way to do it. All right. They say the other way is to cook it from frozen, which I don't really recommend. Microwave defrosting, which I really don't recommend. But these are what the health department tells you is acceptable ways. Or under cold running water while the water's running. Those are the acceptable ways. Really, the best acceptable way. Take it out the night before, throw it in your refrigerator, and let it slack out. All right. So you guys want to try this?